I am the nature hacker, and this is your world. Today I want to talk about light and the ether and rockets not working in space. So, what the craziest thing that I just realized is one of the craziest conspiracies of all time that I've come up with, and probably I would say the most humanly applicable conspiracy I uncovered is that oxygen is not used for energy in the body. It's just simply oxygen is not required for energy production in the body. So us using oxygen is simply to displace carbon dioxide from the blood. It's like a seesaw. One side of the seesaw is oxygen, one side is carbon dioxide. Anyway, that's the biggest conspiracy I've unraveled so far, but this one rivals it. I would say this one is just about as important, maybe more important for us understanding the universe. And that is, light is a gas. Light is a gas. All of the properties that we attribute to light are the properties of a gas in a medium, okay? A gas in a medium. That's exciting because if light is in a medium throughout the universe, that means that there is a medium that we can't see, touch, feel, anything. We can't even sense it. And there is a medium out there. And that medium would be called the ether. A-E-T-H-E-R, ether. There's never been proof of the ether. Dark energy is probably the closest proof to the ether because, according to some scientists, I haven't double-checked their science. I would assume that their science is pretty wrong because they don't, and the reason why their dark energy science is wrong is because they don't understand that, here's another big conspiracy, is that gravity is electricity. It's an electric charge. So that's the discrepancy with dark energy. Dark energy was basically created because they don't realize that gravity is an electric charge. Once you realize gravity is a Coulombic electric charge, you don't need dark energy anymore. Well, at least for what they're calculating, like the expansion of the universe and the speeds of things based on redshifting and things like that. You don't need dark energy to explain that once you realize gravity is an electric charge. Now, but the notion of dark energy lends credence to the notion of the ether, okay? And the ether would be a form of dark energy. One of the biggest things I think we need to explain, we need the ether to explain, is how the sun works. A lot of us have come to the conclusion that the sun is not a big hydrogen reactor with the hottest temperatures at the core and the coldest at the surface. We think that the surface is the hottest part. And you look at sunspots and they're black. So it's like, it doesn't seem like the core of the sun might not even exist. So, or that at the very least there's not much energy in it. So that means that the sun is more of a transforming a field, that field being ether, into energy, heat, electricity, possibly. I don't know. So we need the ether to explain how the sun works as a transformer. Now, the ether would also be needed if light were a gas. If light is a gas, that means that there must be an ether. Why would that necessarily be the case? Well, because a gas will expand freely in all directions immediately. Now, maybe light is expanding at the fastest possible rate, at the free expansion rate. But since it's traveling so fast, we don't notice that expansion. But when you look at something like you put your hand up in front of the sun or something, like you can see on my forehead, the shadow is pretty sharp. but as I move away it gets fuzzier. See that? It's sharp and then it gets fuzzier. That means that the light is expanding. It expands outwards, so it gets cut off by my finger, and then it continues expanding outwards past my finger, and that's why it gets fuzzy, is because it expands. It expands in a quantum mechanical way, you know, a seemingly random, probabilistic way, which is how a gas expands. A gas can be thought of more, actually not, if I said relativistic, don't listen to that, because I don't believe in the theory of relativity. But if it expands, so it expands like a gas. You know, a gas expands outwards like that. If you shot a stream of gas at my finger, you would see the same exact type of shadow effect. You know, you would see that relativistic mixing, or not relativistic, gosh, quantum mechanical mixing, that random probabilistic mixing that would form a diffuse shadow of those gas particles. So maybe light is just a very fast moving gas, but that begs the question of why does it expand, or why does it expand in one direction faster than expands in the other direction? That doesn't make sense for a gas. But if you look at something like a water jet, like and I'm going to do this in my next video. It's going to be very interesting effects of a water jet. And that will be part 8 of Rockets Don't Work in Space. This is a kind of a sub-note. I might hit on some of these points in, or sorry, that would be part 7. This is not going to be a Rockets Work in Space video, but it does apply to some respects. So, what we're looking at with light, it seems to be like, you know, a water hose or something. You're spraying a water jet. You're spraying a water jet, right? And it expands as it goes, but it's not expanding in this direction as fast as it's moving in that direction, right? So you have a moving fluid, and then there's expansion on top of that. Now, what's preventing just full expansion? You know, it would seem as though what's preventing that full expansion is surface tension of the water. You know, the water surface tension keeps the stream in a tube, basically, you know, just by the attraction of the water molecules to each other. So it kind of creates this shell of surface tension, so the expansion is limited. So there must be something like that with light. You know, light must have a form of surface tension. And when you have a surface tension, the medium oftentimes interacts with it. So, regardless, you know, if you want to study the atmosphere, for example, you want to use something that interacts with it. It's like, if I'm just keeping my hand right here, I'm not going to notice much about the atmosphere. But if I move my hand around and notice how the atmosphere affects my hand, you know, I can measure the forces of my hand, you know, that's my hand is experiencing from the atmosphere. I can discern properties about the atmosphere, like the viscosity of the atmosphere, the density of the atmosphere, maybe the electromagnetic properties of the atmosphere or whatnot, if I'm moving a wire through it or something. So I think we can do the same thing with light and the ether. You know, if we realize that light is actually a gas and that all its properties can be attributed to it being gas, then we can use that knowledge, okay, how a gas would act, but how is it different now? Okay, how a gas would act as if there was nothing on it, nothing acting on it, no medium acting on it, versus how light is actually acting, and we can attribute those differences to the ether, we can say that this medium is causing light to function this way, and we would expect as a gas light would function this way. So the difference between those is the medium, in this case ether's, effect on light. So we can study the ether by studying light as a gas. So that is the revolutionary thing here. Light may in fact be a gas, and if it is, that opens up the possibility to understanding the universe in a way we never thought possible. Thanks for watching. I am the Nature Hacker. Do work.